Matt threw his back out being a little bitch.
Oh.
And that's how
like medium size. Come on, like don't denigrate me like that.
I mean, it kind of looks okay tall ways when I'm in the middle.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad.
Things your mother told me last night for 500.
You guys are like, if I do this, it looks so stupid though. Can I do that?
Oh my god.
No, it's just like I'm sideways.
Because now you're sideways.
I mean, you guys are kind of bigger though.
It locked your aspect at that. Yeah.
I'm gonna lock your mom's aspect. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Laser Source podcast, the #1 podcast if you like seeing my finger all big. No, it's really the #1 podcast if you like plastics, and I'm not talking about our sponsor, Johnson Plastics Plus. I'm talking about Cheryl from Resin Dragon Studios, our special guest today.
Woo! What up, guys? Hi.
We've been meaning to get you on for so long, and you're finally here, and I'm super excited about it. The sponsor is Johnson Plastics Plus, though, and you guys should go check them out because they're the amazing reason why we get to do this podcast every single week, even if it's 20 minutes late.
And sideways.
And sideways. I'm a little sideways. It's okay. What kind of awesome goodies do you guys like to get from Johnson Plastics Plus?
I had a really good experience with their tumblers.
Did you?
Black
you
tumblers.
Like them?
They engraved like a dream.
They're pretty consistent, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. And like not all tumblers are consistent, like especially with powder coat thickness, you know, that thickness factor. It's pretty sweet from them. We just published, they send every once in a while, Jackie sends me like little things that I upload to Instagram for like their sales and stuff. So if you're not following us on Instagram, make sure you go follow them because we get updates over there. What are you showing off about?
Some images of slate.
Their knives have been a favorite for me for a while.
Oh, I didn't even know they sold knives. They sell knives. You can just buy knives.
They do. They do.
Oh, what?
I got some of
They
that
had them on
stuff
sale
you told me
too.
about. Like, have you seen this stuff? So it's like actual wood grain. Like it looks and has texture to it. So this is the thing you had mentioned. Like I think you started the channel with this stuff.
Yeah, I did. That's the Romark Naturals. Yeah.
Yeah, and so this is the. It doesn't have a color on it, but it's gray, and so it looks really cool. And like the texture is really neat. So I got this for a little project I'm working on for a shop down the road.
I don't want to say that it's coming out tomorrow because it probably isn't, but I have a sick episode coming out. You guys remember the Johnson Plastics Plus leatherette video?
Yeah.
The slate version is coming out, I'll say this week with an asterisk. I don't know if it's actually going to be this week. I'm trying to do a good job on it. But Kyle saw it. He can vouch for it. I don't know if the rest of you guys saw it. Did you see my sick slow-mo video in the Discord of Rhiannon dumping the water all over it? And then like half of the engravings disappear, and then we get the data vac and blow them off, and they like reappear. It's like invisible ink. It's so cool. So I'm really trying to take something super boring like slate and make it interesting and kind of show the way that it reacts with all the different lasers. And of course we're going to include all the settings and what have you. But that is also Johnson Plastics Plus slate, which, interesting fact, I have slate that I ordered from Amazon, and I get both the matte and the gloss because I like them for different things. And the Johnson Plastics Plus slate is like perfectly between them as far as glossiness goes, which is really weird. So that was something I noticed while I was recording this episode.
I love that they're actually pre-treated or pre-coated, because that way I don't have to come home and spray paint them and then engrave on them.
Do you do that? Because I don't like, dude, like sometimes I just like sell people raw slate all the time. Is that bad?
Yeah. No, I just like the look of it. I personally, I like the look of when it's
raw. Like the point of having slate is like it absorbs the moisture, supposedly. Yeah. Right.
Oh, so see, maybe I'm doing it wrong, Alex.
I mean, I don't know, dude. Like that's the thing. I don't know. Maybe.
So well, I think it depends.
Every time a conversation like this starts, I'm like, maybe I should add that to the slate episode, and then it goes another month or whatever. So I don't know.
But I think it depends like what comes to you, like because the stuff that comes to me from JPP, like literally I don't have to do all that stuff. It's just done, like you said. But then the stuff like if you go to like Michael's or all like the places like that have those kind of things farting around, you know, those when you do it, like you see the difference. Like if you actually just get them and use them in your own house, because I always try to like know what it's gonna be like when I use it, you know, and I feel like the engrave gets kind of cruddy real fast. And it like absorbs the water, and you'll have like dark grays and light grays, and it kind of throws off what you did. Versus the ones that are treated. So wherever you get them from, if they're treated or you decide to treat them, it keeps the bifurcation of like light and dark, more contrast. You know?
Oh,
yeah, I mean that's like a whole thing too, though. Is like because you could just like if you're gonna spray them like Cheryl does, like if you're doing it after you've engraved it, that's going to provide something entirely different than spraying it first and engraving.
Yeah.
So it's a whole world. I don't know. That's like a whole episode in and of itself. I'm probably not going to touch it. Yeah.
But I also do deep engraving on slate more frequently than I do surface marks.
I like the 3D engraves on it. It's
real
beautiful.
deep, Matt. Real deep.
Real deep.
Yep.
You
guys.
3D.
Brutal.
Anyways, all right. So, what's going on with you
Oh
guys?
my gosh.
Not my fault this time.
What's that? I didn't catch. Anyways, so what's going on? What do we got going on this week, gentlemen and lady? What's the projects you got?
People are asking what you have running behind you, Cheryl.
Oh, so these are my, I call them my girls. They're my bamboo A1 minis, or not minis, just bamboo A1s with the AMS lights on them.
Make Cheryl big. Wait, I'll do it. Boom. Okay, show and tell.
Yeah. Okay, so these are the bamboo A1s, and they've got the AMS lights on them. And right now they are printing spool holders because the AMS light on the bamboos, that thing, doesn't like cardboard spools. And so we needed to get some bamboo spool holders, and we're just printing them. You can get them off of Maker World. So we're just printing a bunch of those so that we can just transfer all of our filament over to those rolls. So that's what we're printing right now, but hopefully starting a print farm. Well, a print garden.
Is that like what you call a mini print farm? It's a print garden.
Yes, a
That's
print
cool.
garden. Yeah.
I have always thought that it's really neat, and I've never even attempted to do anything remotely close to this, but I've always thought it was really neat when people printed parts for their 3D printers with their 3D printers.
Oh, yeah.
All that back there is 3D printed. That housing is 3D printed on that
That's
AMS light.
Does it
the whole
help
thing
does it help keep the moisture down too, like because they're encased?
Yep, it does. And there's actually a little desiccant holder inside of it too that I 3D printed. And the desiccant holder goes inside, and then there's two little hygrometers on there too to help me measure the humidity on the inside and the outside of the unit.
That's so smart. For those of you who don't know what desiccant is the thing that's inside your shoes that says "Do not eat this," and it keeps it like dry.
Yes.
It's also the thing that when you drop in your shop and you run it over with your chair by accident, like this, little fucking pellets shoot everywhere, and you're like, "Oh my god!" Sorry.
Exactly those.
My ADHD is popping today.
That's okay. Holder? We love you for it.
Yeah, she literally has, she said it has a desiccant holder and it's got a moisture like meter hydrometer.
Is that like silica packets?
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of. But I bought the actual beads off of Amazon, so it's like a 2-pound little thing of beads, and I could just pour the beads right into
like the rechargeable desiccant.
Yeah, rechargeable ones. Yes, you just put them in the microwave, and then they're reusable.
Yeah. They do not eat on it.
Yes, they do say do not eat.
It's because they're so delicious.
It's like he left the show for a minute.
They
to
look
miss
like
everything
nerds.
I said, and then came back and said them all again.
Well, a lot of
I get paid for.
A lot of the rechargeable ones that have like the color reactive dye, right? So they can be orange or green or blue or whatever. So they do look like candy to kids, right?
They do. They do. Ours are blue when they're dry and pink when they're not dry. I'm not
Okay, that's literally just waiting for someone to die from it. So I would try those. So saying. All right,
they do kind of look like nerds. They do kind of look like nerds. If you were to put them side by side, you know, it might be dangerous.
So where are all the resin printers?
The resin printer is in my workshop. The resin printer, all my resin supplies, another 3D printer, and all my lasers are in my workshop.
Do we have the same one?
The LED.
Yes, I have the Elegoo Saturn. Do you have the 3 or the 4 though?
I have the 4 Ultra.
You have the 4 Ultra. Yeah, I just have the original, like the OG.
Oh, yeah.
We want to get the Saturn 4 Ultra. So that is probably going to be on its way.
You know a lot more about
soon.
this than I do. Do I have some like fancy thing that you can't
yes.
do or something? Yeah. What's the big deal?
You have the Bentley of the in my opinion, of all of the resin printers. I mean,
it doesn't feel like it because
so
it wasn't that expensive.
awesome.
It was like $400.
No, and that's the whole thing with Elegoo. Elegoo is super cheap, and yet they have really good stuff, and they're known for their resin printers.
Have you used any of their FDM printers?
I do. I actually have the 3 Plus right here next to my girls. So I packed away 1 3 Plus and packed away the 4 Pro, and I packed away a 3 Pro, especially when I got the bamboos because they were retired.
Right. It just doesn't. They can't stand up to the bamboo.
They really don't. And I hate to say it because I was definitely an Elegoo fangirl, not only for their resin printing, but the FDM printers, especially with the Plus, because you can print so large. You can even print like cosplay items in less prints than you can on a bamboo. But the problem is that the quality's not there necessarily along with the bamboo. The quality's good, but then once you get a bamboo, you're like, holy shit, this is way better. And then you add in multicolor systems.
I like the price of the Neptune's a lot better though.
Yes, I don't disagree. The price of the Neptunes are definitely better. And for anybody who just wants to get into it, doesn't need a multicolor printer, and isn't necessarily going to sell their prints, I mean, it's a fine printer to start with, in my opinion.
Is it crazy? Like, I almost think too, I feel like I have a really unique opportunity to ask you a bunch of questions. So if this gets boring for everybody, tell me to shut up and chat. But
well, real quick before you get going, one person just said, do you have any of your resin work nearby that you could like hold up?
Let me see what I have. I have one of my skulls nearby. I don't know how much of that you can see.
That's spicy looking. Love that.
Yeah, this is it's actually full of amethyst stones. And it's probably about a good pound of amethyst stones in there.
Holy shit.
So yeah, it's a huge like resin skull. It's like the size of my hand.
Yeah.
It's pretty big. So that's one of my favorite pieces, and that's always on my desk.
That's like borderline a self-defense weapon.
It's
like
can
a good
be.
Size paperweight.
It can be for sure. It weighs a lot too. Like it's not like
I was gonna say that looks like it's like 5 pounds, dude.
I
know
so you like that was like cast resin, right? Like you poured that.
I poured that, yes.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's a whole.
See, that was one of my things I wanted to know about. Like, how did you just get into cast resin printing, and then what's the benefit of that versus like the machines, you know?
Versus the resin printing.
I mean, Alex already has like a list of stuff to talk about. That's like what I was sitting there.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out.
So with resin printing is cool because you can print, like you play D&D. If you wanted to print your miniatures and paint them yourself, like that's perfect for a resin printer because the printer will actually print in really good detail. You can finish them up really nice and paint them yourself. You don't have to worry about anything breaking off inside of a mold, right? Because there is no mold. You can get as intricate, as delicate as you want. And I'm sorry, but that Saturn 4 Ultra, it would have no problems with any of that. Like that machine is just so cool. So if you wanted to print miniatures, you want to print action figures, busts, anything like that, they just look amazing.
That's pretty safe.
And you can do them with FDM if you want, but the whole problem is if you want to go paint it, the process with FDM is so much more because of all those darn layer lines, you know, and you've got all that plastic and everybody's like, I want it nice and light, whatever. You get all that plastic and then it's all layers. Now you got to do all the sanding and the painting and the finishing work versus with a resin printer. Yeah, there's some finishing work, but it's not nearly the amount of work as it is with an FDM printer.
That's why I got the Saturn, because I felt like everybody else had FDM printers and I was always like, that's so much work when the printing is done, and I just want to like print a thing and then that's it, you know. Like And that's how it's been. That's how the experience has been. And now I kind of feel spoiled by it. And I'm sure there's upsides to FDM printing, but I feel like I'm too lazy to do any of the additional required work. And it's going to be
harder. It depends on what you want to make, right?
Yeah, it really depends.
How?
It really depends.
Like, why? What would I not want to print with the Saturn?
Okay, so my husband and I made these really cool cases for my Rode mic.
Ooh,
and these, you could not resin print this, at least in my opinion, efficiently. Why can't I get this thing open? There we go. You really couldn't resin print something like this very efficiently and get it to the specs that you want it and the magnets and everything else. I feel like it would be too brittle. Versus with FDM, if you increase the wall size, you know, this thing is like, that's solid. That's not going to break. If you were to make something like this on your resin printer and you dropped it, if it's a brittle type of resin, it could break. So if you're making like functional things, I wouldn't necessarily use a resin printer for functional things.
So here's a question: when you do like, okay, do you print molds when you do pours?
So you can, yes. I do not yet. No, I'm going to. The one thing that I wanted to use for mold making was the lasers. Like that was the first reason that I got a laser, was because I wanted to be able to cut and engrave the acrylic to be able to make the molds out of silicone. And when I originally got into it, I got the X-Tool D1 Pro, the 20 watt. Not realizing, okay, I can't even do clear acrylic, right?
Right.
So then I upgraded to the P2, which I still love. I mean, the P2 is a great machine. It's a great cutter. It's a really good cutter. But as far as engraving, maybe not so much, you know? So trying to use a bunch of different machines to do the right thing. But that's where I'm going to start with my molds, is going to be in acrylic. And then eventually do some 3D printed molds.
So what's your mold process now?
So it's funny. We actually tried to do a resin print mold before as well. Resin printing and mold making is a whole nother animal. So we were experimenting with making specialized coin holders for some silver coins that we have that just don't have coin holders because they're such an unusual size. And so we designed and resin printed it. Then we went to go make a mold out of it in platinum cure silicone. Well, we started having all kinds of issues with curing because it just wasn't compatible. The what's the word that I'm looking for? It has like this element in it that's just not good with platinum cure silicone. And everybody kept telling us there's hacks for it. I swear, we tried every single hack. Didn't work. And then turns out you need to use a tin cure silicone. So as much as there are differences in resin and in lasers, there's different silicones too. So it's crazy.
Every time I ask a question, it just makes me have like 8 more
questions. There's more questions. I know.
That was one of the questions that John asked in chat. Like, I'm trying to flip back and forth between the YouTube here, but John said, how brittle and flexible are items that are printed by a resin printer? Like, if you had to compare it to something now, like, is it like a waffle cone that's just going to like shatter when you put pressure on it? Or?
No, it's not like a waffle cone that would just shatter. No. Also, it depends on how thin the item is and the type of resin that you buy. So there are ABS resins, there are SLA resins, there's a bunch of different types of 3D printing resins, and each of them having different strengths. So it really depends on what you're making and what you want to use. So you have to kind of research that a little bit and figure out what resin.
Kind of like what you were just talking about, like having to make sure you get one that fits. And then does it change the process of like curing it and stuff? If it's stronger, so it's all the same like process and time?
Yep, all the same process. Maybe a little bit different in timing as far as how long you have to cure it. I know that with items that are a solid color may take a little bit longer to cure than items that are a translucent color, because the UV can only penetrate so deep, right? So if you make something completely solid and it's in gray resin, it's not going to cure nearly as fast as the ones that are translucent because the light can actually penetrate through it.
I found the ABS is really strong when it comes out good, but I've had a harder time dialing in the ABS like settings. I feel like it's more finicky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you have you said that you were having like compatibility issues before when you were trying to resin print, but you're going to be doing that for molds in the future. What changed? Like, what did you discover that now is going to allow you to do that?
Yeah, so the cure inhibition is actually caused by something in the resin. And so you can't use platinum cure silicone and UV resin together. It's just not compatible.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah. It just doesn't work. So instead of using a platinum cure silicone for items that we are going to resin 3D print and cast, we would use a tin cure silicone.
And then let me make sure I have this right. So when you're doing this process, you print like the actual thing that you want the pour to end up being, and then you make the mold around that out of silicone, and then remove the thing, and then you can pour.
Yep.
Is that right?
That's exactly right.
How do you like do that? Do you like build a box and then like put the thing in the box? That's it.
Just dumping. And you know what you could use to build your box? You could use a 3D printer to make your mold housing. So we would
use a laser cutter.
You could, yes, you could. You could use because you could also use like another clear acrylic, like that really thin stuff if you wanted to. You can use the laser to, cut out the mold housing if you wanted to. But it's really easy and cheaper to actually 3D print your mold housings.
Oh, for sure.
So the mold housing would be 3D printed, and then you have your item stuck to the bottom. You pour in your silicone, and then that cures. And then you pull everything apart, and now you have a silicone negative, and you can just pour right into it. But you have to wait like 24 hours after it's cured to be able to pour into it.
Have you done the cool shit that people do with like the gnarled wood or whatever, where they make like tabletops or countertops out of it, where they like, what I'm talking about?
Gnarled wood. I don't know
like
what you're talking about.
Black Tail Studios type stuff. You ever seen that guy?
Where it's like the wood, but it's like, I don't even know how to describe it.
Oh, it's like when he has that bare edge wood and then makes like a river table out of it. Okay, no, I have not done one of those, but dream.
Yeah, that would be like really cool to do. But I feel like it would be hard because you'd have to box in that wood in the shape of a table, right? And then somehow get that off without destroying everything.
You're exactly right.
They have like release sprays and stuff. Like I'm a Black Tail Studio big fan.
I love him.
He does so much stuff. But yeah, they have like an aerosol spray.
Wood, that's right.
And then you pour the stuff in and it helps release it. So
I see you, Michael. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a mold release spray is what they use. And he makes his housings out of either wood, like spare 2x4s laying around. He might even use HDPE. So there's a couple different mold housings that they use for tables. I have a table that is in my garage that my best friend gave me, and I am looking to resurface it, but it's not going to be like a river table. It's just going to be a coated table.
Yeah.
So that I'm going to resurface. I did a small one a long time ago and it came out amazing. So like I'm just chomping at the bit to do a big one for sure.
How are you where's the front of your business? Like, where are you selling things? Is it Etsy mostly?
Etsy is where I'm going to be selling things. I don't have anything yet. I have a storefront, but we're building up some inventory and then we're going to get it going hopefully very soon.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know if you guys saw the thumbnail, but there were all like a bunch of Cheryl's. I tried to fit like as many as I could reasonably fit into the thumbnail. One of my favorite ones, if you can't tell from the thumbnail, was the cutting board with like the ocean waves like washing up on the beach. That's so sick, dude. That's
kind of caught my favorite. Like, bam.
Is that usable? Can you just like cut on that?
I mean, no, you shouldn't. No.
But it's cool.
I know.
Yeah, but you can use it as a charcuterie board, right? Like you could serve food.
Yeah. So as long as you're using a food safe resin, you can use it as like a charcuterie board. Yeah. Like you can put food on it, but you shouldn't cut on it. You shouldn't heat it in the microwave. You don't want to heat a steak on it.
eating.
It's
a
just
bunch
really
of
pretty
resin.
looking.
Yeah,
and you don't want to
because
engrave the resin either.
yes,
Yeah,
you don't want to
indeed.
engrave the resin either. Yeah, but I have a project coming up that I'm making for someone very special, and hopefully get that one videoed and put it up on YouTube.
Is
I'm going to be
it me?
making something cool. Oh, I'll make you something if you want.
Not that kind of stuff.
There was
I mean,
a guy.
we connected. We bonded before the show about Dungeons and
We
Dragons.
did.
Anthony was really impressed. He was like, "Matt, I wish I could play. I've always wanted to." I mean,
Yes.
Your map
I think
making
that's how
is
I
so
remember it.
interesting.
Yeah, the chef's kiss, the lighting.
We
on that
nerded
map.
out together. Yeah, we nerded out. It was pretty cool.
So, a couple of questions that people are asking in chat. Michael Palucci, it said he
Palucci.
attributes. Yeah. Oh, there's like an extra L on the end there, but it said he attributes everything he knows about 3D printing to you, and he's still learning. And he wants to know: do you sell any of your art?
Oh, well, that goes back to the Etsy conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're hoping to. We're hoping
You
to
ever
get
do like
everything out there.
craft events or like
Yeah.
shows or anything?
What's that like?
No, I hate to say it, but like I'm not that person to want to go to like a craft
It's a
show.
lot.
And yeah, I feel like there's too many people there because I'm one of those people that just walks around and, hey, I'm going to look at stuff and just have fun for the day and not necessarily buy anything. And if I do, it's because I feel bad, like that people are sitting there and they're like, hey, I'm trying to sell stuff and they haven't sold anything. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll take this.
Just borrow
So,
somebody else's kids and have them sell the stuff for you.
well,
Literally.
you have like 6, right? Can I
Yeah.
have some of yours?
I'll mail you a
Okay.
couple.
Okay.
We'll pop
That's
some
good
holes
with
in the
me.
box and ship them off.
We're gonna
Yeah.
resin print a box for child shipping. Is that what you're saying, Anthony?
What would be the best filament to use for that?
What would be the best
durability?
filament to use for a child holder?
Throw some what's that stuff?
ABS.
Yeah, just
ABS probably.
throw some of the absorbent material you were talking
Yeah,
about
some
in there.
desiccant
You
from
know,
the
put
snack
some-
on.
Some desiccant in there with
Don't
them.
eat this.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh.
All right, quick question too. He said, oh my gosh, Mickey said, my resin printer has been in a box since I bought it a year ago. Do I need an enclosure to use it?
It should already have some sort of like enclosure or a lid that goes on top. So they should already have that. If they don't, then yes, I would recommend it, especially if you're working indoors, because that resin smell is not good for you. So either have a way to vent it outside, or make sure that you get an enclosure if it doesn't have one.
So that's my question. Do some of these things, I asked Alex this, I think, but I can't remember what he had told me. Like, do they make it like, you know how the X tool has like basically you can plug in a 4-inch external exhaust, like do any of the Elegoo's have that, like where you can just like plug right in and suck the smell out?
No, they don't.
They have those carbon filters though, right?
They have
Ultra,
carbon filters on the inside. Oh,
the 4
does the Ultra have
Ultra
something?
has a complete like exhaust, like fume extraction, I should say, system.
Oh, I thought it just
One-
had the
No,
carbon filter.
I'll look it up. I don't remember. They have like a cool space name for it, like they have for everything else. But there's literally a port.
Space name.
It's a yeah, because it's like the Neptune, the Saturn, the Mars. But it has like a 3-inch port on the back, and it just sits there. I leave it on all the time. I never turn it off because usually the resin's there. I don't like put it away.
Yeah.
We print something like every day. So most of the time though, it's just sitting, and it still reeks when it's sitting. So it just sits there all day and just pumps the air out of the
Thinking up the
chamber.
joint.
I don't smell anything, dude. We work in there all day. It's so nice. But I will look it up.
Yeah, because I know that's one of the biggest things I think a lot of people, especially up north, when they're working in basements and they don't have like the exhaust. Because I have a friend, 2 friends of mine in Chicago who both like want to do that kind of stuff, but that's like their main concern. They're like, well, I just had the baby, and my wife was like, oh, it's gonna kill the kid, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably a valid concern. Like, you don't wanna
It's
do that.
definitely, it can be a concern. Yeah, for sure. But in our shop, it's actually just a spare bedroom. I mean, it's not like a workshop outside or anything like that. It's just a spare bedroom. So when I'm working with resin, definitely always wearing my PPE. I've got a respirator, I've got my gloves and everything else. And then it's got a closed door. So, and I've got air purifiers going. If it's in the summer, I'll open a window, things like that. But the resin itself, like it's not like going to just permeate your whole house. If you have it in an area and you have a closed door and you're venting properly and using all the proper precautions, you should be okay. Like, it's just like having a laser in your house.
And
You know,
that's what I was going to ask.
really...
Would this be the one to get, like the 2091s?
No.
You need the gas
I don't
ones?
think so. You need the ones that are rated for organic vapors.
Things like A6000 or something like that.
It depends on the brand. Mine was a P100, I think, for 3M.
I think that's the organic vapor and acid one.
Yeah, I think that's this guy. Oh yeah, here they are. I got it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm ready to go. So then, if you haven't seen these guys, like this guy, like,
yep,
yeah.
that's it.
The official laser everything recommendation is the 3M 16926 multi-gas vapor cartridge.
There you go.
Those are the ones I use for when I cut acrylic, and they like you don't smell anything until you take it off, and it's like
they are pink and olive. If you're looking for colors,
there you go.
Color code on those. Also, the air purifier for the Elegoo printers is called the Mars Mate, and it works very, very well. So
I see that right here. It's like
I did look that up. Yeah, it's extremely inexpensive, and it works. The reviews are mixed on it, which I don't really understand. I have had the greatest experience with it. Though, to be fair, I am in a like gigantic negative pressure room from all of the lasers already. But
yeah,
that said, I still feel like it's been really effective because when you turn it off, you are aware that you turned it off. So
another question came from Lynch Reptiles that said, how does resin prints do in the sunlight? So how do they do they hold up? Is it something you can stick outside in the front of your house or something?
So yeah, some of them do. Again, that's going to depend on your type of resin. So you have to make sure that if you want that's the resin that you're looking for, they are available. Yes, you can. But you can't just take your normal everyday run-of-the-mill UV resin and just put it outside. It probably won't hold up. And if you're using translucent, a lot of times, especially if it's a clear translucent, it's going to yellow for sure. The longer it's exposed to, believe it or not, UV light, it's going to yellow. So if you take your standard translucent clear and you throw it outside, it's going to yellow like super quick.
Fun side story, I tried to retro bright overexposed translucent resin and it did not work. That's how you de-yellow like ABS plastic.
Oh, okay. I was like, what's retro bright?
Yeah, so it's a heated hydrogen peroxide bath in a UV enclosure. And it will literally take like a Nintendo console that is yellow that used to be gray and make it gray again. It's amazing.
Oh, wow.
But retrobrighting does not work on printed resin.
Allegedly with resins, if you add just a little bit of blue to it, it'll help like disguise the yellowing that happens or negate it. So
that's the trick.
We'll try that.
That is definitely the trick. So
I don't know. Does that work for prints too, or is it just pores? Because I heard pores. I don't know about prints.
You know, I've never done it with the prints, so that would definitely be something interesting to try. It would definitely, but yeah, it does work for sure with the pores. I have two little ghosties that I made, and one of them was clear with a white swirl, and the other one was supposed to be clear with a blue swirl. Well, the blue kind of just dissipated in with all of the resin. And here it is a year and a half later. And the one that I did that was clear and white is yellowing. And the one that is blue is looking clear. So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Just a little bit of color theory, I guess. Yeah.
I'm doing my best starring comments, guys, but I have like a square inch of like a postage stamp sized space to work with on the live comments, so I could really only see them coming in live. So
I was just gonna say how impressed I was because Cheryl is literally like owning people in chat while not even like breaking rhythm of her speech in here. Like nice. The one guy's like still waiting for those whatchamajigs, and then you're like still waiting on that email, and I'm like,
got him.
Like shit.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of what I do all day. You know, at work, it's like I'm on the computer, I'm on the phone, I'm doing my thing, and I have to multitask all day. So it's kind of happens.
You're like, you know, it's just how I do. It's okay.
It's just how we do.
I don't think we hit this one yet. How much is the bamboo?
Okay, so the bamboo A1s with the AMS light system are just around 500, I think. Sorry, I don't know why I was looking at the ceiling. But they're thinking my thoughts are up there
That's
somewhere.
how high the prices are.
Yeah, that's
compared to the Elegoo.
Yeah, compared to the Elegoo, when we bought that 3 Plus, I think that one was only like, I want to say $300, but I know that Elegoo has definitely dropped their prices on those, so they are significantly cheaper. But I think for the bamboo, it's like if you want a bamboo, you want a multi-print. Like that's really one of the only reasons to get it is if you want to do multicolor prints.
Yeah. I know without if for some reason you wanted it but you didn't want the multicolor option,
It's a lot
it's a
cheaper.
little over $350. I actually just got a P1S with 2 AMSs.
Oh, with 2 AMSs. We got a P1S in the other room. So we put the P1S in with the resin stuff because if we decide to do ABS and everything, it just might as well all be in the workshop. So these guys only print PLA, so that's why they're allowed in my office because this is where I work during the day.
Yeah.
And then everything else is in the workshop. So we
And
do
they're
have a
super
P1S
quiet,
too, and it's cool. The A1s are quiet. The P1S is not quiet.
See, I've got the X1C and it's so quiet. I think it's just because it's got the
Really?
frame around it. Yeah, like it's, I mean,
Oh.
I have it. So my desk for teaching is like literally right over here. And then I think it's probably 7 feet away diagonally and like 2 feet up on a countertop. But like, I don't hear it. Like the other day I printed, actually, I think I printed another one of these because I gave this to a friend of mine that lives close by, but I printed like a pin. What do you call it? Like pins in it and put it on your
a
bed.
pen jig.
Yeah, pin jig. There you go. Fixture, whatever you want to call it. And dude, this thing is like, you're not kidding. Like this thing is thick. Like you can knock the crap out of some of this. But I made a second one of these with some multicolor. And I mean, it just like while I was doing calls with students and doing their tests and quizzes and stuff, it just popped it out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty slick.
I think to be fair, it's probably a far bit quieter comparatively from your last 3D printer.
Oh yeah, the last one I had was the Delta printer.
But from like a silent room to printing with the X1 Carbon or the P1S, I know it's noticeably louder than the A1 because when I went to Micro Center to pick up my 3D printer and they had 2 A1s printing on like the open desk thing. I couldn't hear it at all. It was dead silent.
That's impressive. Yeah, it's not dead silent for me.
Things I didn't think existed anymore. Micro Center.
Oh yeah.
Oh, believe it or not,
they're just opening a new store actually.
Dude, I hope they make their way down to like the south. Like we don't have anything down here. Got nothing.
I have to drive 2 hours to go to one.
Do you guys remember Fry's?
What?
Those I never had a Fry's.
Really? Oh.
Is that like
I didn't either. I had one when I lived out in California. That's probably why you know it, Anthony.
Yeah.
Fry's is like a more different version of Micro Center.
Where are you, Cheryl?
It's kind of like Circuit City mixed with Micro Center.
What country am I in? I'm in the country of Ohio.
Ohio. Are you really in Ohio?
I am in Ohio, yes.
Oh, dude, I love Ohio. Everybody hates
Why?
it. I think Ohio is great.
It's a beautiful country this time of year.
You have chili pasta there. What's not to love?
I went to and dropped out of college in Ohio.
No way. What college did you go to?
Kent State.
Kent State? Oh, that's why.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's, too busy getting shot at to study. So.
That's the problem. You went to Drunk State. That was your problem. That's where all the parties get
like hopes and dreams.
Oh my gosh, I hope none of my friends went to Kent State.
Cleveland rocks, and I agree with that. I think that Cleveland does well.
I mean, it's okay.
It's, how are you close to Cleveland?
We're about 30 minutes south of Cleveland. Yeah,
everything's close to
I can go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but I've never been there.
Do you know the park next to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? It's like a little pier, and there's like boats down there with a bunch of drunk people on them.
Yeah, I've been down there like once.
That park is sick. I love that park. Mostly because it's nearby to the train station, which is where I used to sleep while I waited for the bus to take me to college. So, also there's a mall there that's like in a skyscraper. That's kind of cool.
Oh yes. What do they call that? The something tower.
I call
Somebody
it the
could put it in
mall
chat
in
for
the
me.
skyscraper. So yeah, Ohio. Hashtag Ohio. Number one Ohio
Yeah.
podcast.
OH.
Okay. Apparently, there's a Miami Micro Center, so now it's only 4 hours away. All right.
All right, go Matt. Make it a day
Fly down to
trip.
Miami
It's a day
International
trip, bud.
Airport.
You can
No,
go
it's a
buy
day
a
trip.
motherboard.
A day trip. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Hey, kids, get in the car, and then let's all just drive into a ditch, like
Do
in
you
Florida.
need some unterminated Ethernet cables?
Go to Micro Center. Yeah. Trust me, I'm Alex, and I went to Kent State. Kind of?
That's right.
Kind of.
Thumbs up, sideways.
Oh my gosh. You're too funny.
So, what are you guys working on this week, the rest of you bums?
I'm getting ready to move.
Oh, the
boy.
house! Yay!
Yep.
Yeah, Kyle
so
bought a house.
exciting.
How's that going, by the way? Like, everything's like going?
Everything's going. Yeah, we finish everything up next week, and if all goes well, maybe I'll show up next Tuesday from my phone in a new basement.
Sideways.
And empty.
Nice.
Dude, that'll be
We'll
so
see.
crazy.
I'm actually so one of the things I'm really excited about, aside from having a new workspace, a garage, a basement, but I may actually have a really nice dedicated area to do resin printing and resin stuff.
Nice.
So I might have to pick your brain a little bit.
I'm in the last couple of weeks that I've made Kyle feel bad for not having a resin printer. He's been like, "Oh, I just don't have the space, man. It's too big of a mess." And now there's no excuse.
Oh, it's really,
Yeah.
I mean, it's really not that bad. It's
It
really
really
not.
isn't.
I mean, once you get used to the whole prep and the cleaning, it's really not that bad.
I have
She's
two
like,
cookie sheets, and one of them is pre-cure and one of them is post-cure, and that really manages like the entire mess for me. Like outside of that,
A lot of it is my work area is also where I keep my dog throughout the day with me. So I can't risk getting the resin on her fur because that would be a big problem because trimming a chow's fur is a nightmare. And
I mean, you just have to break
do
out
that.
the clippers and shave her.
Yeah, but if you shave down a dog with an undercoat, it just
I
doesn't grow back the
know.
same.
you just need a like large dog house that's filled with UV strips, and then you can put her in it and cure her.
I was gonna say you should just, if you see it on her fur, just throw sparkles on it and let it grow. Right?
She'll be fine as long as you cure it.
It'll
You
look
just gotta
like
cure it.
Yeah, she'll be
cyberpunk
fine.
mohawk going on as she like just saying it'll be dope.
Well, besides resin printing, what other resin are you looking to get into, Kyle?
I want to do some resin pours. I'm thinking about doing a full, I guess it'd be a countertop for a work
Okay.
area for my workbench, but we'll see. That might end up being like a garage project because that's going to be massive. But I almost kind of want to do an in-place board because it's going to be so damn heavy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I always try
We'll
to
see.
tell people just start small. Like I started when I did my first table, like I made like this one. It was like this big. It was like a 12-inch or 16-inch round table. It just like has like it's a display table for all my resin stuff when I want to take pictures and things like that. So I just started really small and just practiced on it because if you do your first project as something really big and it fails, then you get really discouraged. At least if it's something small, you could say, you know what, I'll just do it again. Yeah, I'll just do it again. And then do it till it's perfect and then go big, go ham. Anthony, you're raising your hand like you're in school.
Don't make your first big resin pour a 5.5 by 3 foot sign.
Oh,
Why did you do
Not
that?
Speaking from experience.
Oh no.
I know a guy.
if I was gonna pour anything, it'd be dice. I see people make the dice all the time, and I just think they're so cool.
I actually have a set of master dice that I'm getting. Hopefully, will get polished up and make my own molds because they have custom Resin Dragon logo on them, and so I want to pour my own dice. Yeah, I have. I have so many ideas in my head of what I want to do.
As soon as you get them, by the way.
Oh, that would be.
Yeah,
I will
just
do
saying.
it.
The dice seem just like that seems like an easy thing to tackle. It's like a 3D polygon and that's it. You know, it's like
and the hardest part though is again getting that if you resin print your own, which most people don't. I actually got them made by someone who has like one of those large SLA printers. And so like it's already done for me. That part's already done, but I still have to polish them up, make them all shiny to be able to make a mold out of them. Because otherwise, if you mold them now, they're dull, right? And it's not going to look nice. So I have to like get them all shined up and stuff before I can make molds.
The thing I haven't been able to deal with so far, I think, and this is probably just a patience issue in software, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, is just like magicking the support scars away from like supports. I'm like really struggling with that. That's where I get like give up frustrated and like have to take a break for a week because I cannot. I've tried like files, I've tried like sanding, and I think it's just like an engineering problem in just like I'm not doing the supports well enough in software. I'm not taking the time, but I don't
Yeah. No, I don't really think it's the software. I think what it is possibly placement. Placement is a huge factor when you're doing those. You want to try to hide them in a spot where it's not going to be necessarily as noticeable. If there is like a little pimple or a dimple, you want to make sure that it's kind of in a place that's not so noticeable. But there's also, if you were to put your prints in a warm water bath, the supports will come off cleaner. So try doing that and see if they come off any cleaner. But yeah, definitely try to use some. It doesn't have to be like hot. Just, you know, temperature wise, not, I don't know, like you could stick your hand in it and you could say, ow, but it's really not that bad. If that makes sense.
So maybe like 140 or something.
Sure. Yeah. Cause I know units of measure for
Do you print with water soluble resin or
No,
but you're giving them water
soluble resin. Yeah. So after you clean them off, or after you get them out and you put them in your little bath, take that out of that bath and put it in some hot water, and then let the supports start to kind of
just soften it a little bit.
Get like malleable.
I just came up with like a literal video title for you, Resin. It's literally like get into some hot water with Resin Dragon Studios, and like I would be like, huh.
Oh yeah, what's that
140
about?
degrees centigrade. Oh yeah.
No.
And then just literally have like Kyle's video like 140, and he's like, he was right. Like
yeah, right. Oh look, Kyle was right, y'all. Oh man,
I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try the hot bath. I haven't tried that.
Try the hot water bath. They'll get malleable. You can either like just pull them off. You can use your snips, but it'll be way easier when it's in hot water. But placement matters.
I have like really thick like wire cutting snips, and I need the like thinner.
You need the little tiny ones.
Snips. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need some tiny ones. Yep.
Yeah. I have like, I don't know, 5 of them. It seems like every printer comes with one nowadays.
Oh yeah. When I picture you doing it, I just picture you with like, you know, like the lock pick sets. Like you just flip that down, but it's just a bunch of little different kinds of snips at different angles.
Yeah. I have toolkits like that, believe it or not.
Oh, I'm sure you do. I absolutely believe it. I have no problem believing that whatsoever.
See, one thing I've always wanted to do, and I know this is like going back a couple of like topics ago, but like I really want to do like a table that's pennies as the top. Like take the fiber laser, shine the shit out of the pennies, like literally just clean them. And I want to make like a round table for outside that just has like the like metal legs, you know? And then just put it outside. Like, so we've got 2 rocking chairs, and it'd just be a place to like sit and drink. Like a Moscow Mule.
Like, yeah, that would be super fun. And a funny thing that you say that, because a bunch of these people that came with me tonight are actually from a coin community. So you saying that you're going to clean coins with the fiber laser is probably making them jump out of their seats right now. They don't like to clean coins.
Dude, look out for the comments.
Oxidation is for losers.
Cleaning coins with a fiber laser is way harder than it sounds. It's because if you're actually cleaning a valuable coin and not like a penny you found on the subway, being able to actually clean it without ablating the surface of that valuable point is incredibly difficult.
What I like to do is like hear the sound of it being eaten away slowly as it goes across layer by layer. I think that like the more valuable the coin, the better that sound. It's like because you can hear the value in the air, just sizzling, you know.
Right. It's like the guys that DM me and they ask me, when you engrave gold, how do you get the dust back? And I'm like, I don't know.
Just suck the air.
Yeah, suck it up.
Oh my gosh, that's so
if
funny.
we're gonna encase things in resin, I really want to do. People do food in like just blocks of resin. I want to do like a banana, you know, in just like a yeah. That's what I want. Why not?
I know what you would want. You'd want a Wendy's hamburger.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so my problem with food and resin is the fact that if you don't have it to where it's like already like dried, you're going to cause cure inhibition. You're going to have issues with the resin curing because resin and water don't mix. So if you wanted to like put a strawberry in there, it's probably not going to cure. If you put a dried strawberry in there, you'll be okay. If you can manage for it to cure somehow magically, that food is going to rot inside.
Oh, that'd be kind of sick too, though.
That would actually be kind of cool.
That sounds like, I feel like you're just fucking telling me about like a cool, like modern art project.
I mean, I guess if that's what you like, yes.
Okay, no, wait, thought.
Yes.
Freeze dryer. Freeze dry the food first. Boom.
I suppose.
Right.
Hey, we should do an experiment together.
We should. Fun. I will go halvesies with you on a freeze dryer.
It's only about $1,500 a piece.
You're not that far away. We can share it.
We can share.
Yeah, I'll drive it to you. You can have it for a month. You drive.
It's my weekend with the freeze dryer.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the next thing of like People's Court. Dun dum 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 dum. Cheryl, Resin Dragon Studios is in the court with Alex Laser.
And we're gonna be like, it's mine. No, it's mine.
It's literally just gonna be Kyle in a fucking judge wig and
yes.
Freeze dryer custody battle. I love it.
And so, fun story. I did a skull like this with candy corn in it. Last year or 2 years ago, I made a skull with candy corn. It looked amazing. It was beautiful. I was like, heck yeah, this thing is so cool. And then a week later, no lie, the skull, it started to ooze sugar out. And it was like, there were no holes in the skull, but the sugar just somehow started to just permeate through. And he had like these little bumps, like a chia pet, all over his head from the sugar coming out through the resin. And then it started to rot. It turned brown. It was nasty. So I had to throw it away, unfortunately. So that's how I know about it, because I tried.
You 3D print candy corn with your multicolor bamboo printer and then sprinkle those in.
See, now that I can do.
Yeah.
That I could do. But real candy corn did not work so well.
Freeze dry the candy corn.
Rotted. Freeze dry it with our
once per month. Make sure that you set that up at least 90 business days ahead of time on your shared map or calendar map. You know, you'll be good.
Right. So. I need to make sure I get visitation in October.
Okay. Deal.
Splitsies. Oh my god.
Candy corn freezing.
This is what it's like to be here. Poor Cheryl's like, this is what I've been waiting for.
Yes.
Oh my god, this is all I've been waiting for.
Cheryl's been watching the show for literally years, I'm pretty sure at this point.
Yeah.
She knew exactly what she was headed into. It's not a surprise at all.
No, this is not a surprise.
We kept everything clean before the show. It's been G-rated the entire time. No weirdness. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, we've never had anything weird on this show. Kyle, did you have something actually important to say? Because it sounded like you did.
Just a question, but I can look back to it.
No, please, God, ask it.
I don't know if we hit on it, but John was asking how brittle or flexible are items printed by a resin printer?
We did, kind of.
Yeah,
you did?
We did. Okay. And the answer a lot with resin, and this is, I'm not joking, the answer a lot is it depends. Because there are so many variables. I mean, even if you're working with, casting resin, your atmosphere matters, right? The humidity matters, the temperature matters. Like if one thing is off, it's like it could throw off your whole cure. There's just so many things that are at play.
Cheryl sounds like me talking about color marking with the
I literally was just thinking the exact same thing.
And bouncing back to what you were saying too about the case you made. So that versus like a cast resin item, where if like you drop it on the floor, the amount of give it has before it shatters or breaks or deforms. Going backwards to something like PLA or PETG on an FDM printer, PLA and PETG generally have a good amount of give, but something that a lot of people are incorporating now is carbon filament. And if you have like a carbon PLA or a carbon PETG or ABS, those are significantly more brittle. So when you drop them, while a hunk of PLA would probably just bounce, carbon PLA would probably have a higher chance of shattering, even though it's stronger in different aspects.
I'm not
a material science stuff.
I'm not a Cheryl level expert on this, but I feel like in my personal experience, so many things that I've printed on the Saturn, like I just look at them the wrong way and they fucking like explode. So
really?
Yeah, I've found I have to be like really careful with the stuff that I print. So I don't know, maybe I'm like over curing it. I still don't have all that stuff down.
It could be, because they do say that if you over cure it, it can become even more brittle if you do that. And it also it could depend on the brand of resin. Do you use Elegoo resin too?
Yeah, I use Elegoo resin for the most part. The only exception to that were a couple transparents I got to try to do like glossy see-through coats on things after the fact. But yeah, for the most part, I'm using the Elegoo resin, and it's a mix of like just the standard and the ABS.
Okay.
It could be the ABS stuff too.
If you ever fancy trying a different brand, my recommendation would be Soraya Tech. They have a really good broad spectrum of like densities, so to speak, and then also have a really good amount of colors and whatever you need. So I really enjoy theirs. We have not had any problems with Soraya Tech.
Tell me about densities. What do you mean densities?
So if you want something to be what's the word that they actually use? If you need something to be more flexible, they do have resin that can be more flexible. If you want something that is more dense and can take more doesn't have as much give, you can get that too. So they have all those different layers. I can't remember what the actual word is, but they have a bunch of those different types to where you can get something a little bit more flexible.
Will have to send me a link to that so I can put it in the description.
And the people who do miniatures use the more flexible resin a lot, because if you are making, like a Viking miniature and he's got like an axe and the axe handle is like super thin, and if you were to hit that thing the wrong way and you don't use a more flexible resin, then it could just break off. But if you use something that has a little give, like Kaya was saying, like PLA has give, there's resins that have give, so it could do that same thing.
Is it like the viscosity of resins, by the way? Is that what it is?
No, not really. The viscosity of UV resin really doesn't matter as much as it does with casting and tabletop resins.
Okay. Yeah, those. I remember I had seen a video a long time, like a different video a long time ago that talked about viscosities, and I was kind of like, oh shit! Now there's like WD-40, like 10 WD. Like 10 weight versus 5 weight.
Yeah, well, so with casting resins, that's very true. So the different viscosities are because of a deep pore resin. If you wanted to do something in one layer and you wanted to make it 3 inches thick, you can't use a standard art resin because that's going to flash cure. You would have to use a deep pore resin, and the deep pore resins are a lot more watery because it takes longer to cure.
Yeah.
So because that curing process is longer, it's not going to heat up nearly as much. So you're not going to have that chance of flash curing. So that's why with pouring resins specifically,
see, there's so much stuff, and if you don't take your time to know, like what Alex is talking about and what that is, like if you don't take the time to even figure that stuff out, like
I don't. The more Cheryl talks, the less I want to try to pour resin because I feel like I'm gonna do. It's just
Alex would just go to like Home Depot. Like I wouldn't just be like, I'm doing it.
My brain is literally at max capacity with laser shit, and I feel like if I just add one more thing that's as complicated, it's gonna implode. Yeah, I don't know how I could ever get this good at anything else. So I'm glad that you're here to talk to us.
Yeah, anytime. If you guys ever have questions, you know where
Well,
to
Well,
find
you've
me.
got
we're
a
gonna have
channel,
so
right?
many, and you do have a channel, yeah.
I
Plug it.
do. I
Plug that
do.
stuff,
Resin
man.
Dragon Studios on YouTube.
Boom.
And I actually have a really cool video that talks about the different types of resins and what you use them for. So check that out if you really want to know how to use it. And that'll
There's
tell you which one to buy.
definitely going to be a link in the description in the next 20 minutes.
Sounds
Dope.
awesome.
There already is.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey.
Aw.
We did that while
Look
you
at
were
that.
while you were getting
You
this
know
figured
where
out.
there's always been a link is at the bottom of the channel homepage. If you scroll down, it says our other channels and our friends. And
Also
right
in
there.
our hearts.
And in our hearts. But you
Aw.
can't see that because that's my internal organs.
That's
All right,
true.
we're at an hour.
Flash cured.
That's it. We're done. Cheryl, come back soon. Also,
Anytime you guys want me here, I'll be here.
yeah, we'll
I think during
definitely.
candy corn season you should come back.
Candy corn.
Yes, we can check back in. I'll bring my banana. You can bring your candy corn.
All right.
It'll be fun.
Just
We'll
make sure
catch
you
up.
bring, the fruit banana, please.
Yeah, we can relive the
Yeah.
custody battle over the
Thanks, Matt. You got
air
it.
fryer or whatever live. I'm so tired.
Spin
Okay,
it, wiener.
guys, listen. Thank you so
Alex.
much. Thank you, guys. I'm sideways. Okay.
You're
Thank you so much
sideways.
for being here tonight, joining us for another episode of the Laser Source Podcast. If you got value out of this one, don't forget to smash the like button. Let everybody else know the content is good. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time there's a custody battle. It'll be live right here for you on Laser Everything. If you guys really, really like the channel, go support us. Go sign up for the LMA. It's amazing. Everybody there is super nice, except for the handful of people that aren't. But you'll have a really good time. You can ask questions and get to know people in our community, and it lets us keep doing the show. Also, make sure you go click all of Cheryl's buttons. Cheryl's got lots of buttons. She's got a website. She's gonna have a store soon. She's got her YouTube channels loaded with dope videos, all kinds of things. Make sure you go click all those buttons too. They're all down in the description. No thanks to me. And
Handful of people that don't exist. We don't tolerate bullying in our communities.
Yeah, no, we don't. We kick them right in the rear, and we let the door hit them on the way out.
Yep,
twice.
I don't know. Cheryl, thanks for coming. Thanks for dealing
Thanks
with
for
us.
having me, you guys. It's so fun.
We love
being here
you.
with
You've been here
guys.
for so long. It's like a
Aw.
family reunion. It's really nice.
I love that. Thank
we
you.
appreciate
I love
you coming by and
guys.
spending your time with us.
Yeah.
Yes,
And,
anytime.
I will be having more conversations with you off camera about how to not poison myself with all
Sounds
of these
great.
horrible things that we use. Goodbye. Good night. Go away. Go to bed.
Bye.
See you,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye.
Pew, pew, pew.
Bye.